Hello, and welcome to my first battle report of 2018. On Saturday, me and Anthony were able to get in a 4,500 point match using the 9th Age rules. I had my Empire army, and he brought his Kingdom of Equitane. Here's a shot of the list that I took. You'll notice that it's very similar to the one I made a video about earlier. The only change that I effected was that I replaced the Hammer of Witches upgrade on my Prelate General with Death Warrant instead. I know I was trying to stay away from lots of magic items with special one-off rules, but in this case I think that item is just really awesome, and I think I'm going to use it in basically every game I play with this army, so I figured why not take it right off the bat. I don't have a good picture of Anthony's list, but I'll go through it using the pictures and identify what I remember about what he took. So here's a picture of the table from the side. Here's the saucy lad that I was playing against. By the way, Anthony has lost a tremendous amount of weight. He looks fantastic, so props to him for that, because holy shit, is physical exercise impossible to do. But so left to right, we have a chaff unit of 6 Realm Knights. We have a Grail Knight block of, I believe, 9 total. Another chaff unit of 6 Realm Knights. 3 Pegasus Knights. His Pegasus Lord Flappy. Lord Flappy's built like an absolute wrecking ball. He has the Grail Vow, so his stats are fantastic. He also has like divine attacks and stuff built into the Vow. He has Devastating Charge, where when he comes in, his hits are a ridiculous strength, a ridiculous AP, and then have multiple wounds D3 plus 1. So he's doing between 2 and 4 wounds, and then unsaved wounds roll an additional attack. So his maximum number of wounds is something absolutely absurd. And then another 6 Realm Knights deployed on that hill. And then on the far right side, my right, his far left flank is a boss of, I want to say it's like 11 Questing Knights or 10 Questing Knights, or Knights of the Quest Vow, led by a Paladin BSB with a Damsel in the middle of the second rank. The Questing Knights have the Banner of the Last Charge, which grants them impact hits equal to the number of full ranks in the unit. I believe the Paladin also has a vow that increases the Aegis save of the unit. And the Damsel in the unit knows Druidism spells, and she is a Wizard Master. There is another 6-man chaff unit of Realm Knights on the far side. Here are the spells that the Damsel knows. I think that Anthony took the Hereditary spell in addition to the Druidism spells, not in lieu of taking one. But again, we're super clear on the rules. So right to left for my army, you have a steam tank, 4 Knights of the Sun Griffin with, I think, just a musician. Then you have the block of heavy infantry, hand weapon and shield with the wizard, a mortar, and 10 skirmishing light infantry screening. The unit of Imperial Guard with the BSB Marshal and the General Prelate, a 10-man support unit of handgunners with another mortar, and then the block of Knightly Orders. And then way off on the left-hand side, this is post-Vanguard moves, the Rider Light Cavalry. I deployed kind of tit for tat with Anthony. I think he was a little more dropping things lump sum to deny me a bonus to the roll to go first. And then I rolled a 1 anyway, so it didn't matter. So Anthony took the first turn. And here you can see he moved up very aggressively with the 2 units of Realm Knights and the Grail Knights in the middle there. That central piece of terrain is a ruin, which is dangerous for everyone, but super dangerous for Cav, so he is avoiding it. And then on the right-hand side here, you can see the Pegasus Knights moved up very aggressively. The Realm Chaff and Lord Flappy move up to the left-hand side of that building. The Questing Bus and the other Realm Knights move up on the right-hand side. Lord Flappy doesn't have range or line of sight for a charge on the steam tank, but those Questing Knights actually get a bonus to their charge range against things that cause fear. So both the Demigryphs, or pardon me, Sun Griffins, and the steam tank are at risk from a frontal charge from the gigantic Questing Bus. But that's it for Anthony's turn. I think his magic was attempting to cast the Oaken Throne and getting dispelled for the most part. Yeah, so going into my turn, my stuff just backs up. Here you can see the knightly orders back up, and the skirmishing archers move forward to screen and act as a speed bump. And here you can see the Imperial Guard, the Swordsmen, and the Sun Griffin Knights back up as well. The steam tank has random movement, so any movement that it does would make it, unable to see the questing bus that's directly in front of it. And let's just say bring it on, so I get a chance to shoot them with its cannon. And the riders scoot up over the hill and behind the Realm Knights to harass them and make them take tests if they want to march, etc., etc. So my magic phase and my shooting phase are pretty effective. Quick note about the spells generated by my wizard. He was from the lore of alchemy, and I generated all of the direct damage spells that are available. So that's basically a bolt thrower spell, 2d6 or 3d6, strength 3 hits with very high armor piercing spell, and then the reverse armor save spell. Plus, I used the Empire's liberal magic rule to generate fireball from pyromancy. So my wizard just acted as a turret and pew-pewed. It was a pretty big magic phase. I don't have a tremendous amount of experience with the rules for the magic phase and the flux cards and all that kind of stuff, but between all of the channeling options present in my army and just drawing a really powerful card, it was a pretty effective phase. And then here you can see over here that we killed two of the Grail Knights and one of the Realm Knights between pistol shooting, handgun shooting, etc., etc. So on Anthony's turn, he charges the skirmishing archers with one of the Realm units. But otherwise, it's not super successful. He attempts to charge the handgunners with the Pegasus Knights and fails. And I think he attempts to charge the knightly orders with his Grail Knights and fails. So the Realm Knight unit marches up in front of the knightly orders to take the charge and to protect the Grail buddies. Over here, the questing knights slam it home against the steam tank, and I believe that Realm Knight there takes a casualty for moving through the woods, but fails a charge on the Sun Griffins. I don't think they would have moved that far up if they failed the charge. I think they just moved up to block the Griffin Knights from assisting on the questing knights. And Lord Flappy and the final chaff unit kind of angle there for next turn shenanigans. In the magic phase, Anthony gets off Breath of the Lady on the questing knight bus, so they're going to do really well. And he successfully gets the Oaken Throne, but I hold all my dice to dispel the regrowth spell to keep that unit small. So here we are after combat and into charges on my turn. So he does 2 wounds to the steam tank. It's got 5 wounds left, or maybe he only does 1. I forget how many wounds it has to start with. But anyway, he does really not a super effective charge against the steam tank. The questing knights are only strength 5 on the charge, and the impact hits are actually, I believe, what does the wound, not even attacks from their swords on the tank. So the Sun Griffin Knights declare a charge on the Realm unit, but my deployment was so cluttered that I couldn't actually wheel the Imperial Guard to get in and get their charge without moving the heavy infantry, hand weapon, and shield. So despite taking this wizard, who's a pure turret and has no spells that have any effect in combat, I deployed myself in such a way that he absolutely had to declare a charge in order to clear out some space. So that's what they do, and that has unintended consequences for the rest of the battle. Over here, the Realm Knights blew through the skirmishing archers, overran into the handgunners, and are now countercharged by the Imperial Guard with great weapons. And the knightly orders declare a charge on the Chaff Realm unit. And the riders scoot in here and block the Grail Knights. The knightly orders do a heck of a number on those Realm Knights, but they do not kill them, because remember that they're getting a pretty good Aegis save against the high strength lance hits from this unit of knightly orders. So the 2 surviving Realm Knights flee through the riders, through the Grail Knights, and pop out the other side. And because they're not actually below whatever the minimum threshold is, they'll probably rally. I don't think they need Snake Eyes to rally. So they're fleeing, but they're not out. The Imperial Guard and handgunners actually just completely annihilate the other realm unit to the man. But because of the size, the depth, I guess, of this Imperial Guard unit, it's very hard for me to choose what to do with them. Like, I don't know if they fled or what the story was with those guys. Maybe I overran and caught them. But now I'm stuck like this right in front of the handgunners, and my reform options are really limited because I can't overlap the handgunners. But so here's where the wacky shenanigans happened. So the Sun Griffins and the heavy infantry defeat the chaff unit of Realm Knights, and they break. I, as the player that charged, or the player whose turn it is, get to determine who flees from what. So I have the Realm Knights flee from the swordsmen, and I have the swordsmen and the Sun Griffin Knights elect to pursue. So for the pursuit roll, the Sun Griffin Knights roll like a 1 or a 2 inch charge. They don't have a unit champion or anything weird like that. So this was just like a flub. And so they walk like 3 inches ahead and stop. But the heavy infantry roll like an 11 or something ridiculous. So they not only book it or run the Realm Knights off the board, they then slam into the flank of the Questing Knight block. Now, the Questing Knights had been directing most of their attacks. Keep in mind, they were still buffed by Breath of the Lady on the Steam Tank. The Steam Tank uses its breath weapon and all that kind of jazz. But it's down to only 2 wounds left. But then in their flank, they have like a super flank charge with 1,000,000 ranks. They break, they run off the board. So now it's been like a huge swing in terms of available units and points and all that. And after failing those charge, Anthony's pretty demoralized at that point. So here you can see the disposition. I can't really reform with the swordsmen because they're right next to the Sun Griffin Knights and they can't overlap with them on the pivot. But this is what the board looks like. Basically, at this point, Anthony's trying to decide, like, last licks, what do we do? So he declares a charge from the Grail Knights onto the Riders. The Riders stand and shoot and kill, like, 3 or whatever it was. They kill, maybe they only kill 1, but they kill, like, a Grail Knight on the charge, which is just, with stand and shoot. And that's just kind of par for the course with this game. The Pegasus Knights fail a flank charge on the Knightly Orders, so now they've done effectively nothing all game. That's just to show the that they move up like 3 inches or whatever it was. Over here, the chaff unit of Realm Knights just bypasses the heavy infantry entirely, and Lord Flappy goes in on the Steam Tank. Lord Flappy does a hojillion wounds to the Steam Tank through all of its armor and defenses. He did enough wounds without doing his unsaved wounds generate additional attacks, just with his base attacks, to have killed the Steam Tank outright from full hit points. So picking up the Steam Tank with only 2 hit points remaining was well within his capabilities. He mows it down. I think he fails his test to restrain or whatever. So he moves up like 3 inches and is left in front of the Sun Griffin Knights. Over here, the Grail Knights defeat the Riders, but they don't kill them. One of them gets away. The musician gets away and rolls like an inch beyond their pursuit roll, so they end up stopping directly in front of the Knightly Orders, which is just like salt in Anthony's wounds at this point. So here's what the board looks like going into the bottom of whatever this is, like turn 3 or something like that. So the Knightly Orders flank charge the Grails. The Imperial Guard can't actually see the Pegasus Knights from the orientation they were at before, so they just kind of turn to give the handgunners line of sight. They can't really do anything, and wherever the Pegasus Knights go, it's not going to be someplace where the Imperial Guard can follow, most likely. So, And then over here, the Sun Griffins flank charge Lord Flappy, and the heavy infantry turns so that the wizard can maybe do some pew-pew. They do 2 wounds to Lord Flappy. Lord Flappy didn't charge his turn, so all of his special charge ballerness is not activated, so he's got 1 wound left. Over here, we fail to kill all the Grail Knights. One of them flees and gets away, and I roll like a pathetic pursuit roll. And there you have it. Major victory for the Empire of Sonnstahl. It was a lot of fun dusting off my miniatures. I enjoyed the new rules and options, and I think next time I'll be better prepared. I'll actually have like my flux cards printed out. We were rolling dice and stuff to see which card equivalent I had drawn, and that slowed things down. I also didn't have my magic card like selections ready for quick reference, which made taking pictures and stuff of what spells went through difficult, and I think that'll be done nicer next time. It was a lot of fun to play mass battles again. I enjoy these particular miniatures a lot. They hopefully someday will get finished by me. But I do feel the fingerprints of the design team and the attempts to kind of shift the way that the Empire is represented. Stuff like the magic item Death Warrant that I spoke of earlier is super, super fun. It made for a dynamic gameplay experience where like it felt much more evocative of the Empire's type of gameplay, and I feel like multiple medium-sized units supported by small units would be fun and less reliant on like one-trick ponies like steam tanks and demigriffs or god charges buffed by a ton of bound spells hinging on your opponent having a bad magic phase type stuff, which in hindsight, looking back at a lot of the 8th edition reports for me and Anthony, they usually came down to like the whole game blowing out on one ridiculous god phase of magic or whatever. Amusingly, when I was going through all of my record keeping and stuff and all like the various directories full of images and stuff I had from 2013, I came across an entire folder of pictures that I never made a battle report for. So I'm going to try and go back and do some forensics on that. But that's for another time. I hope you guys enjoyed this battle report. And yeah, maybe we'll get some more games of the 9th Age in pretty soon. I had a lot of fun. Thank you for watching.